So round 3 is finally here. I don't know about you guys, but it feels like an absolute eternity, but we finally made it. There's some pretty tasty fixtures coming up, and I cannot wait for fantasy to start again. I slipped a little bit down in the rankings in round 2, so I'm really hoping for a strong round 3, and this might be the video to do just that. Looking at the current table, obviously we've got Ireland at the top and Scotland, who are both unbeaten. Then we've got England and France, just separated by 1 point, and then at the bottom, unfortunately, is Italy and then Wales. So there's bound to be some movement coming out of the end of round 3 with the table. It's definitely going to be a fantastic round, that's for sure. So let me know your score predictions down below. Speaking of score predictions, it's not too late to download the Fanzo app and join the league JG Rugby. I've actually already done my score predictions for this round. I've actually gone Ireland to win by 26 points. Obviously this is a huge margin, might not be this much, but I do back them against Italy. Also gone with an England win by 8 points. Let me know what you think of that down in the comments. And also, I've gone with France by 11, which might not suit some of you Scottish fans. I know I've got a few of you out there. But France at home, galvanised from that last loss. Who knows? So, let me know your score predictions down below. So, let's get straight into it. In the front row, I've gone with Genge, Marchand and Zander Fagerson. So, with Ellis Genge, we all know what he can do. Vice captain, carrying ability, which will be really key against Wales, but also his, sheer dominance in both carrying and defence will be really key. I don't think Wales have a player like Genge, just so robust and destructive. Faletau maybe can come close, but I guess maybe not as physical as Genge. So I think he'll just win this battle. With Julien Marchand, like I mentioned at the start, I really do believe France are going to be galvanised from the loss to Ireland. On the day, they were just beaten by a better team, to be honest. They didn't actually play too badly. I thought they played quite well as well. But I think leading from the front, Julien Marchand can get loads of carrying as well. If Scotland do decide to attack and open the game up, I think this can also help Marchand's game as well. Although he's a hooker and likes to keep it tight, I believe he could throw the ball around as well. And for Zander Fagerson, reason why I've picked him, he obviously came back into the Scotland team last round, but now I do actually believe that he's had several weeks of training, so he's a lot fitter, and also he came in and scored, I think it was above 30 odd points, so a really, really nice score there. Obviously they had that nice win against Wales, now they're in France in Paris, so it might be a little bit tougher, but I do back him to get some good points. In the second row, I've gone with Flamand and Chessum. So Flamand has actually been the best performing second row in the game, higher than even like the likes of Tyburn, who usually are front runners here. But Flamand has just, adapted his game. With the new rules in fantasy, getting line-out steals as well as turnovers, this has, helped him thrive, right? So that's why he's in my team. I've got Ollie Chessum as well. I think it was a toss-up between him, Byrne or Itoje. Obviously Tyburn is injured. Itoje's quite expensive and doesn't tend to get too many great points. And Chessum has actually been playing really well. Even as a non-English fan, I do believe that he's probably a really good option. My English bias may be clouding it a little bit, but let me know down in the comments, if you're not English, is it a good pick? In the back row, I think I've gone a little bit different. So I've gone with Jelonch, Doris and Ludlam. Now all three of these players are in the top 5 for best back row players on fantasy. That's average points and obviously having played at least 2 games. So definitely their reputation stands them in good stead. So look, Jelonch, reason why I've picked him, Gregory Aldry didn't do well for me last round and he actually came off pretty early. And Jelonch, I think, went to 8, which was an interesting move by my account. As I mentioned with Marchand, France are going to be really fired up for a victory, and unfortunately, I think Scotland are going to be on the end of it. Caelan Doris is, I think, the standout player of the tournament so far, so I had to keep him in. He has been moved to 6 though for the game against Italy. I am also a little concerned that he might be taken off early. However, Farrell doesn't like to change things too much. I think he's pretty much kept the same team, apart from obviously Sexton and Jack Conan coming into 8. So hopefully he'll be on, but I haven't put him as my captain because of that worry. Then finally in the back row, obviously I've got Ludlam, just a really solid player. We've got Courtney Laws and Ben Curry on the bench too, so there might be room for Ludlam to come off, but he's played 80 minutes in both games so far, so hopefully that carries on and he can be as destructive as he has done in the past 2 rounds. At halfbacks, I have stayed with my pairing from last round in Dupont and Russell. So I guess not much really to say here. Dupont, we all know what he can do, World Player of the Year, and how about that tackle last round? Absolutely crazy. Mac Hansen was certain to score the try, but just somehow Dupont defied the laws of gravity and somehow stopped him from scoring. Finn Russell, player of the round last round, huge performance against Wales. If Scotland are to get a win up in Paris, then it'll be because of some of his magic. Finn obviously plays there as well in Paris, so if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be him. Now in the centres, I'm finding it quite hard to pick actually. I have gone with Ollie Lawrence and Hugh Jones. Both have performed really well. Obviously Ollie Lawrence was only in for round 2. Got man of the match, so a really solid performance. I haven't been certain on a centre pairing in fantasy rugby yet. I just think there's so many options, but also centres have become the second row of this year in the sense that they don't tend to get like solid points. They obviously carry a lot being in the centres, but they also carry into traffic, so I think it's going to be useful for the likes of Ollie Lawrence to beat defenders on that first carry. But then also Hugh Jones is much more of a running threat who gets in those wide channels, a bit like Henry Slade, but I feel that Hugh Jones has more attacking and running potential, which is why I've picked him. Now for the back 3 and what we've all been waiting for. So hopefully these 3 can get me some really decent points. I am bagging on it, to be honest. So I've gone with James Lowe, Hugo Keenan and Van der Merwe. Looking at James Lowe, probably should have not been awarded his try last round, but he did, which racked his points quite high. Also has the ability to get 50-22s, he kicks a lot for Ireland, which is also a good points tally this season. But you can't look past his carrying ability and just the ability to be in the right place at the right time for tries. Plays for Leinster, so he knows, I guess, where Sexton or this round Ross Byrne will be. So I am bagging on him getting a try or 2. Same as Hugo Keenan really, just in the right place at the right time, seems to do a lot of the basic stuff well, which I think is why Andy Farrell likes him so much. Could be a shout for player of the tournament as well so far with Caelan Doris, which is exactly why I've got him in my team, right? All these 3 I've basically picked on form. They've been one of the best back 3 players in fantasy rugby this season, so that's exactly why I've picked him. And also, I'll allude, he is my captain for this round. So I have moved away from my Van der Merwe captain, but he is still in my team. I just think picking an Irish player against Italy is a little bit silly if I didn't do that. So that's why I've de-captained Van der Merwe. But I do still think that he's going to get some really good points against France. He'll be used so much as a carrying outlet as well, especially against Penaud and Demortier, who don't seem the best in defence. Penaud, yes, you could argue that he's quite a good defender. However, Demortier has not been tested on an international stage, so it'll be really interesting to see that. And finally, for my bench and my super sub, I've gone with Dan Sheehan and the newly capped Mason Grady. So, Dan Sheehan, he's back from injury, he should probably be starting. He probably isn't because he's recovering from his injury. Ronan Kelleher also played really well last round. I almost picked both Kelleher and Sheehan, but I do feel like having Sheehan as my super sub, he is going to come on. It is just evident, being obviously a front row replacement, but he just has so much ability to carry, get over the gain line and score tries, we hope. So that's why I've picked him. I did have Kelleher in my previous video, but obviously these two have switched, so I've gone with Sheehan. And just to shout out Mason Grady, he's 20 years old, 6'5", come through the Welsh setup. We know that Warren Gatland likes a really big centre, like Jamie Roberts. Can he be the same? Who knows, we'll have to see on the weekend, but I think looks promising. So that's my team for round 3. I am super excited. Filming this video, I did it on a Thursday, so only 2 of the games teams have been announced. I'm actually going away, so videos will still be coming, don't worry about that. Let me know what you guys have picked down in the comments. I always reply to comments, so please put them down below. Good luck for round 3, and I'll see you in the roundup video.